What's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. I haven't done this style type video, me in my bed talking, in quite some time. I'm up to date with the shorts. I'll do a lot of shorts in here and there whenever I want to, but not with these type of videos. But I'm back, and the reason I'm back with this video is because I got some people mad. Got a lot of Japanese simps mad on Twitter. As you know, if you're up to date, if you go on the news if you're on social media, on Twitter, YouTube, Japan's national waves have been on a rise. The Japan has finally spoken. All the Japan nationalists have finally spoken up on the foreigner issue or the tourism issue, or or think foreigners taking estates or real estates or whatever. But other than that, there are a lot of people who have been talking about how they should decrease the amount of tourists in Japan, because by 2030, by 2030, 60 million tourists are going to be in Japan, and it keeps increasing every year, every hour, every month, every day. You know what I'm saying? And that's an issue. And I've seen a lot of tourists in Japan doing a lot of stupid shit, doing a lot of stupid stuff. And people say, "Oh, it's ignorant, it's gullible." I think a lot of the stuff they do is not gullible and ignorant. I think they do it on purpose because they know Japan's people are kind, not all of them, but it's a part of their culture. Politeness, kindness, all that other stuff. Not all Japanese people are kind. So a lot of them are fucking dickheads. But some of them are kind naturally, and even Japanese people have taken advantage of that. And I see videos in stores how old generation Japanese people attack young co-workers and young co-workers and make them apologize. I see a lot of videos of old Japanese people start shouting at the young co-workers. Even if the old Japanese person did something wrong, even if the customer did something wrong, he attacks the young co-worker, say, "Fuck you! Why'd you do that? Why'd you do this? Why'd you put this in the right position? Why'd you give me this in this amount of time?" Da, 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 da. And he berates and shouts at the person, and the co-worker can't do nothing. The cashier can't do nothing. That's about Japanese culture. If the customer's always right, even if it's obvious that the customer's wrong, you get shouted, berated at, you get insulted, you get spat at, you can't do nothing. That's also the part of the culture as well, which I don't agree with. A lot of things in any culture, there's things that I disagree with, there's things that I agree with. But anyways, why am I talking about Japan? Why am I talking about this? Why is this relevant? It's because I criticized Japan in Twitter, and as soon as I criticized Japan on Twitter, all the Japanese simps went on a rampage saying, "What about this? What about that country? What about?" I'm like, the deflection is crazy, because you're the same people who insult and criticize every other country, which I do. I criticize a lot of countries in Asia. Criticize a lot of Asian countries, a lot of European countries. That's fine. There are pros and cons in every country. There's also cons in Saudi Arabia. Dubai, even though it's one of the most safest countries ever, there's still cons of it. And people criticize it, rightfully so. But whenever someone criticizes Japan, even since after 2020, how a lot of these new foreigners dick ride Japan, saying how Japanese is beautiful. Japan is 100 years ahead of Western civilization. I'm like, 100 years ahead of Western civilization. Okay, it's a bit of a stretch, but sure. Does Japan have good technology? Have amazing technology? Yes. Does Japan have amazing buildings? Yes. Does Japan have crazy hospitality? Yes. Does Japan have great food? Yes. But a lot of other Asian countries and even Western countries have that as well. So I don't understand why people dick ride and glorify Japan to the point where they criticize their own country. They hate their own country and try to stimulate themselves in Japan. It's crazy. And I criticize Japan heavily I criticized Japan one time on Twitter. All the Japanese dick riders are onto me. So I would like to talk about one criticism I have of Japan. Or I would like to talk about how the Japanese simps say how Japan is on modern era. So I'm like, okay. I tweeted out saying, this is going to be the main topic of the video. I tweeted out saying the age of consent before June 2023 was 13, and now 16. Some idiot, some Japanese simp on Twitter, below my comment section on Twitter said, "No, it's 18. You're looking at undeveloped countries like Arab countries." Da, 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 da. I'm like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of Asian countries that have that. Like in Nigeria, I think it's 12. I think Philippines is 30. Philippines is 12. I know it's 16. But the truth is, which is a fact, Japan before June 2023 was 13. Now it's 16. I got a lot of information here. So I searched up what is the age of consent in Japan. So I was like, okay, is it really 18? I thought it was 16 because I saw a video. Of someone talking about how the age of consent of Japan before 2023 was 13 and now it's 16. And I was like, I did not know that. I did not know that before 2023, the age of consent in Japan was 13. I never knew that. Where were the Japanese shells talking about this? Where were the Japanese people, all the Japanese foreigners saying, oh, how beautiful Japan is, how top-down Japan is, how the humanitarian rights, all the other stuff. But the age of consent in Japan was 13. No one was talking about it. I did not know this. So I researched it. And it says Japan's legal age of sexual consent is currently 16 years of age across the country. In June 2023, Japan's national parliament raised the age from 13 to 16. Undeveloped countries. This seemed like an undeveloped country to me. If you read that without a Japan thing, you would think, okay, that's definitely an undeveloped country. But no, Japan is one of the most developed countries ever. And it took until June 2023 to raise the age from 13 to 16. Why 16 and why not 25 and why not 22? Because the reason they picked 16 is because they follow Western ideology. Like the UK, the UK is 16. So like, okay, we don't want to abuse this to 18 because that's a bit too much. Let's just stick to 16. That's close enough, right? Let's go to 16 like the UK. And it says a significant update, as the previous age had remained unchanged since 1907. So since 1907, the age of consent was what? 13. Under the amended penal code, articles 176 and 177, sexual activity with anyone younger than 16 is treated as statutory rape. An exception remains for relationships where one person is aged 13 to 15 and the other is no more than 5 years older. Such cases may not automatically result in criminal liability for the older individual. Okay, you understand? Key points. National consent age is now 16 years old as of June 2023. Previously, the statutory age was 13, one of the lowest in the developed world, until revised in mid-2023. Think about it. Japan's age of consent was 13. It was one of the lowest in the developed world. No one said anything about it. I wonder why. Because people want to praise Japan, how much of a perfect country it is. It's like Japan chill. Is it Japanese Sims? Oh, I love anime. I love this about Japan. So I'm gonna praise Japan to the moon without any criticism. Okay, a close in age exception applies if a 13 to 15-year-old is involved with someone less than 5 years older. Such conduct may not be prosecuted under national statutes. Alright? Additionally, all 47 prefectures in Japan enforce local laws, often referred to as obscenity statutes, that in effect make sexual acts with minors under 16 or 18 illegal, some with stronger limitations than the national standard. So to be clear, as of now, August 2025, the legal age of consent in Japan is 16 for all sexual activity. Alright? So I was like, okay, fair enough, you guys understand now. It was 13, now 16, and all the information, how it built up to it, that's what it is. So I'm like, okay, so why am I hearing people from Twitter saying it's 18? Why are they ignoring this information even though it's true? It's like, I was like, why are people saying it's 18? Like, what the fuck? Are these Japanese Sims so ignorant or so stupid to decry Japan saying, clearly lying, saying, oh, it's 16 and it's 18 not 16? What makes it different? Isn't 18 still young to have sex? Crazy. Anyways, so it says it reflects a mix of legal complexity, cultural misunderstandings, and a social misinformation. So number one, local laws versus national law. While Japan's national penal code sets the age of consent at 16, prefectural juvenile protection laws, also called obscenity ordinances, often prohibit adults from engaging in sexual activity with minors under 18, especially when there's a power imbalance, for example, teachers, students, employer, and employee, payment or coercion involved. The minor is in school or under guardianship. Alright? So, in practice, most sexual relationships with minors under 18 can still be illegal. Maybe they're right. Under regional laws, even if national laws says 16. So maybe they could. So maybe they are right. Maybe they are right because it says most sexual relationships with minors under 18 can still be illegal under regional laws, if in national says 16. So with that, maybe they could be right. But them saying, but them simplifying it, saying the age of consent is 18. The age of consent is 18. No. Number two. All right. The misuse of age of consent. On social media, the term age of consent is often conflated with the legal age to appear in adult media, which is 18 in Japan. The age of adulthood raised from 20 to 18 in 2022. This is all in Japan, by the way. The social or cultural acceptability of relationships. All these separate legal concepts blur together in casual discussion, leading to confusion. So all this, I'm like, okay, this got to be 18, because if the legal age to appear in adult media, which is basically porn, you know what I'm saying? It's porn. It's fucking porn, or nude magazine photo shoots. It's 18 to be in Japan, which is still young, but okay. If that's the case, why is the 80% not 16? So they get confused, like, oh, these Japanese simps will get confused, or the ignorant people who don't understand Japan will get confused, like, so if the legal age to appear in adult media is 18, that means the age of consent is 18. No, you idiot. That's not how it works. Social media simplification and moral signaling. Twitter and similar platforms reward outrage and simplicity, not nuance. Saying Japan's age of consent is 16 can provoke strong emotional reactions, so some users intentionally round it up to 18 to align with Western norms or discourage misinterpretation, e.g. by people looking for loopholes. What did I say about these Japan? Well, I told you, even these Japanese who glorify Japan, they still go to the Western norms, like how 18, most of the other Western countries, it's usually 18, it's usually younger, but it's always usually 18. Most of the people say, oh, 80% is 18. That's in Western norms. That's in Western norms. Majority of countries who are below 18 is in Asia, but obviously some European and some Western countries that do below 18 as well. But whenever someone says, oh, but the 80% is 18, they usually have it in a Western mindset. You know what I'm saying? Others may intentionally misrepresent the law to push a narrative, whether for good intentions, for example, protecting minors, or bad faith, cultural attacks. For example, how they attack other Arab cultures, other Asian countries, or other cultures, or Islam, this, that, but not realizing Japan has the same thing. Okay, outdated or misquoted sources. Until 2023, the national age was 13 to have sex with. So basically, an 18-year-old could have sex with a 13-year-old. Deep that. Before 2023, like in 2019, I say 2019, an 18-year-old could have sex with a 13-year-old. And many outdated websites and blog posts still reflect this. Some people mix up the old law, propose reforms or incomplete summaries, and spread that confusion further. So legally, age of consent in Japan is 16, but prefectural laws and contextual factors like coercion or authority, so if you coerce that person, or have a powerful authority, they often raise the real enforceable limit to 18. Socially and online, people say 18 because it's easier, more protective, or aligns with global expectations. You know what I'm saying? So I asked another question. Why was it 13 for so long, and why didn't anyone talk about it? But when it comes to undeveloped countries, they always target their age of consent laws, because they always love to. These Japanese simps or people always love to attack undeveloped countries' age of consent laws. But when it comes to developed countries, or one of the most developed countries, one of the most developed countries in Asia, like Japan, they never talk about the age of consent laws there. Even though it's worse than it's worse than undeveloped countries, which is a fact. So let's unpack this, bro. Let's unpack this. So this is what it says. Why was Japan's age of consent 13 for so long? Historical legacy since 1907. Let's go to the history, baby. Okay, Japan's penal code was written in 1907, during the Meiji era. Yeah, Meiji era, I think. Heavily influenced by European law at the time. What did I say? I told y'all, Japan has always been influenced by Western ideology. Even the age of consent was heavily influenced by European law. Come on. The age of 30 reflected early 20th century norms, not just in Japan, but also in France, Germany, Italy, where similar low ages existed. What did I say? I told you even Western countries have low ages. Even to now, they have low ages. Western and Eastern countries have low age of consent laws. Both ways. There's some Eastern countries that have 18 or higher. There are some Western countries that have under 18. So, you know what I'm saying? While many countries later revised their laws in response to feminist movements, child protection activism, or high-profile abuse cases, Japan did not. Legal reform moved slowly there, and there's a big and. Sex-related laws were considered taboo or private matters. The topic wasn't widely debated in the Diet Parliament. I think even to now, sex-related laws were considered taboo. I think sex-related laws now is still crazy. Is even now that to talk about like nothing. The role of local laws. Even though the national law said 13, every Japanese prefecture had ordinances that effectively raised the age to 16 or 18 in practice. Okay, see, maybe you're right. This created a false sense of security, though. People assumed everything's already covered by local rules. I don't think so. Lack of pressure. There wasn't sustained domestic activism or intentional pressure on the specific issue until recently. A series of high-profile rape cases that were dismissed by courts due to narrow definitions of rape caused public outrage, especially among young women and activists. I even said on Twitter, there's been a high rise of rape cases in Japan, and it's been like that for years. It hasn't slowed down. People, young schoolgirls get groomed, get groped on trains on a daily basis. No one says nothing. But I'm the hate. People say, "Oh, where's the proof? Where's the evidence?" Look on the internet. Look at the statistics. Look at the articles. Look at the victims. Look at the interview. Look at the victims talking about this. These Japanese don't care about the victims. They don't care about the truth. All they care about is the lights. All they care about is Tokyo, the Hiroshima, all these beautiful big cities in Japan. They never go to the countryside, never talk to the real people. They stay to themselves. They do the same shit. Whenever they go to Japan, they do the same shit. Let me go to Tokyo. Let me go to the 4 biggest cities in Japan and do absolutely nothing. Do the same thing. Eat the most basic Japanese food. Stay there for like a week, maybe like 2 weeks, if I'm lucky. Buy random stuff that have nothing to do with Japan, and then go home and say how Japan is amazing. What the fuck? You learn nothing. Come on, man. So okay, that led to broader sexual consent reforms in 2023, including raising the age to 16 and expanding the definition of coercion. Wow. So it had to. So for it to change, for it to fucking go to 16, there had to be a high number of rape cases. Until June 2023? Japan's government is cooked, and it's being cooked. Fucking hell. No one trusts Japan's government. Even the fucking Japanese nationalists who support Japan, they don't trust the government themselves. It's a fact. So, why do people criticize age of consent laws more harshly in undeveloped countries? Number 1, cultural and racial bias. Western media and online spaces often single out developing countries, especially in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, when it comes to backward laws. There's a tendency to moralize through a colonial lens, portraying those places as inherently regressive, even when Western countries had similar laws in the past. Or colonies still have problems, for example, child marriage loopholes in US states. See, I told you US has a problem as well. I don't know. No, I'm saying. Selective outrage. Global outrage is uneven and politicized. It's easy to call out countries that are outside Western alliances, have weaker international voices, don't control the global media narrative. Japan, as a highly developed, economically powerful ally of the US, has often escaped that same level of scrutiny, especially in English language media. That's a fact. They got away with so much shit because of anime, the lies, the buildings, kawaii cosplays, the shops. Oh my god, look what Japan's technology. Oh my god, Japan's festival. They got away with this shit, motherfucker. Online echo chambers. Social media creates soundbite culture where stories about shocking laws in foreign countries go viral. They're often stripped of context, like local enforcement practices, reform efforts, or historical reasons. So you're right to notice the double standard. Japan's 13-year-old law persisted for over 100 years, and very few in the West cared until recently. Meanwhile, countries in the global South are regularly criticized, even when they're actively reforming or enforcing stricter protections than Japan had until 2023. What you mean, bro? And there's countries unfair, and there's also points of also information about countries unfairly criticized for their laws, or a time. I can even show you a timeline of how Japan's law changed and who pushed for their reform. But that's just it. I could talk about other stuff in Japan in my next video if you want. But that's just it, bro. This is my opinion. Japan's 80% laws are no better and even worse than the undeveloped countries that these Japanese sims talk about. Oh, what about the Middle East? What about Thailand? What about this? What about that? What about India? You know what I'm saying? Da-da-da. So yeah, that's my opinion. If you get mad, if you stay mad, stay mad. If you're frustrated about the facts that I just given you with all this beautiful information that I just found, with statistics, articles, proven information that's a fact, stay mad. But if you're a reasonably common sense human being that understands that every country has its pros and cons, there are criticism that needs to be faced so for Japan to improve. Japan's economy is shit. Japan's culture in Japan is falling down. Japan's tourism is at an all-time low. Japan government, instead of fixing the issue of tourism, they want to make it worse by saying let's push 60 million tourists by 2030. Instead of focusing on the foreigners, how about you fix on tourism? How about you fix on the rape case issue that's been on the rise? How about you talk about how the 80% law was 13 before June of 2023 and now it's 16? That's just my opinion. I don't know if I know a lot of people can get mad, but I do whatever I want, bro. It's my shit. I give my opinion. Stay mad.